What is up, everyone? Today we are going back in time, like way back. Forget your history textbooks, because what I'm about to show you is absolutely insane. We're traveling all the way to 1861 for the First Battle of Bull Run, the very first major battle of the American Civil War. You probably think you know how this went down, but I promise you, the real story is crazier than you could ever imagine. We're talking about things that sound completely made up, but they actually happened. I've spent a ton of time digging up the most surprising and fun facts about this battle, and trust me, you won't believe what people did back then. Before we jump into our time machine, make sure you hit that little CC button and turn on the English subtitles. Are you ready to have your mind blown? Let's do this. Alright, for our first fact, I want you to imagine this. A huge, history-changing battle is about to happen. Soldiers are lining up, cannons are ready to fire, and people are showing up with picnic baskets. I am not joking. Hundreds of civilians from Washington, D.C. literally packed lunches, got in their carriages, and rode out to the battlefield like it was the Super Bowl. They brought sandwiches, champagne, and even opera glasses to get a better view of the action. They were so sure the Union Army was going to crush the Confederates in a few hours that they turned it into a spectator sport. Can you even wrap your head around that? They had absolutely no idea of the chaos and horror that was about to unfold right in front of them. Instead, they were about to witness the brutal reality of war, and their little picnic party would turn into a stampede for their lives. Okay, this next one confused me for the longest time, and it's actually super interesting. Why is this battle called both Bull Run and Manassas? It's not a mistake, both names are correct, and it all comes down to who you were fighting for. The Union Army, the guys in blue, had a habit of naming battles after the nearest river or creek. In this case, that was a little stream called Bull Run. But the Confederacy, the guys in grey, did things differently. They named their battles after the closest town or railroad junction, and right near the battlefield was the crucial railroad hub of Manassas Junction. This naming difference happened for tons of battles throughout the Civil War, which is why you sometimes see two different names for the same event. It's a small detail, but it shows the completely different perspectives of the two sides fighting this war. This battle is where one of the most famous nicknames in military history was born. I'm talking about Stonewall Jackson. Before this fight, he was just a former professor named Thomas Jackson. During a really intense moment in the battle, the Union Army was charging, and the Confederate lines started to break. It was chaos. Soldiers were retreating, and it looked like the Confederates were about to lose everything. In the middle of all that panic, General Barnard Bee was trying to rally his terrified troops. He saw General Jackson and his brigade of Virginia soldiers holding their ground, completely refusing to retreat. To inspire his own men, Bee shouted, "There is Jackson standing like a stone wall. Rally behind the Virginians." And just like that, the name stuck. From that moment on, he was Stonewall Jackson, a symbol of Confederate determination. Remember those civilians who came to watch the battle with their picnic baskets? Well, their fun day trip turned into an absolute nightmare. When the tide of the battle turned and the Union Army started to retreat, it wasn't a calm, orderly withdrawal. It was a full-blown panic. Soldiers threw down their rifles and ran for their lives. And all those picnicking civilians, who were suddenly terrified, jumped into their carriages and tried to flee on the exact same roads. It created the worst traffic jam in history. Imagine a single bridge, the Cub Run Bridge, clogged with hundreds of fleeing soldiers, panicked congressmen, and fancy civilian carriages all at the same time. Then, a Confederate artillery shell hit a wagon on the bridge, blocking it completely. People abandoned their carriages and ran on foot, trying to get back to Washington, D.C. It was a humiliating and chaotic end to what was supposed to be a glorious day for the Union. Before Bull Run, most people in the North and the South thought the Civil War was going to be a joke. Seriously, they believed it would be over in 90 days, tops. The soldiers who signed up were promised a short, exciting adventure. The First Battle of Bull Run completely destroyed that fantasy. It was way bigger, bloodier, and more chaotic than anyone had ever anticipated. This battle was a brutal wake-up call for the entire country. The sheer number of casualties, almost 5,000 killed, wounded, or missing, was horrifying. It showed that this was going to be a long, difficult, and incredibly deadly war. Bull Run was the moment the reality of the Civil War truly set in for America. This fact is absolutely wild and shows how disorganized things were at the start of the war. Some of the soldiers who showed up to fight at Bull Run were wearing the wrong uniforms. Early in the war, there wasn't a standard uniform for every unit. For example, some Union troops from New York, the 79th New York, wore kilts and dark blue jackets, while others wore gray, the color that would become famous for the Confederates. You can probably see where this is going. This led to insane confusion on the battlefield. Commanders couldn't tell who was who. There were tragic cases of friendly fire, where Union soldiers accidentally shot other Union soldiers because they mistook their gray uniforms for the enemy's. After Bull Run, both armies realized they needed to standardize their uniforms fast, leading to the classic blue versus gray that we all recognize today. You thought the picnics were crazy. How about this? A sitting United States congressman was captured by the enemy during the battle. His name was Alfred Ely, a Republican from New York. Like many other politicians, he rode out from Washington, D.C. to watch the battle, expecting to see a swift Union victory. He even brought his own opera glasses to get a good look at the action. He was so confident that he got a little too close to the front lines to chat with some soldiers he knew from his district. When the Union retreat started and turned into a panic, Congressman Ely got trapped. Before he knew it, he was surrounded by advancing Confederate soldiers. He was captured by a South Carolina regiment and taken as a prisoner of war. He ended up spending nearly 6 months in a prison in Richmond, Virginia. Can you imagine the headlines? A U.S. congressman taken prisoner while spectating at a battle. It's an unbelievable but true story that perfectly captures the bizarre nature of this first major clash. And that is a wrap on 7 of the most insane facts from the first Battle of Bull Run. From picnics and traffic jams to the birth of a legend, this battle was so much wilder than I ever learned in school. It just goes to show you that history is full of unbelievable stories if you just dig a little deeper. If you thought these facts were as mind-blowing as I did, imagine what else we can uncover together. If you want to join me for more deep dives into surprising history, make sure you smash that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. We have so many more insane topics planned, and you are not going to want to miss out. Also, if I was talking too fast and you missed any of the details, remember, you can always re-watch with the English subtitles on. Thank you all so much for watching and for coming on this crazy trip back to 1861 with me. Let me know in the comments which fact surprised you the most. I'll see you in the next one.